Hello everyone and welcome back to Sudden Wealth. I hope you guys had a very good week and that you're preparing for something nice for the weekend. Don't forget guys, if you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. We are quickly approaching 1,100 subscribers. In case you guys, it's amazing. I'm starting to be a bit lost for words on that front, so thank you very much. As you know, that's the only thing that I ask. Like and subscribe. I don't ask you for money. I don't sell you stuff. I don't do any of that as you would find in other YouTube channels. Now, big happenings this week. Nvidia once again comes to the rescue of the markets. I mean, mostly not just the outperformance, but the guidance they provided is absolutely crazy. But that is the potential of AI. So it's very difficult to quantify it at this stage because I get the feeling we are only scratching the surface, but we're clearly talking about something that will change drastically our lives forever, very likely in a way much more substantial than the internet did, if you guys can believe that. And, I don't know, I don't have a crystal ball, and I'm not perfect to know the amount of productivity announcements that we're going to see from AI. But I've quoted this time a few times these surveys that have been made to data companies that they refer that certain tasks used to take 8 hours and now take 10 minutes. So that gives you a flavor of the initial stages of AI. But what if they combine artificial intelligence with robotics? Maybe one day you don't need doctors anymore. You don't need surgeons. Maybe you don't need dentists anymore. Who knows? Is this too futuristic? I mean, look guys, this is always a little bit like everything, right? If you would go back to people living in 1920 or 1930 and you tell them that in 20 years everybody would be flying by planes, yeah, people would just laugh in your face. If you'd go back to the 80s and you would tell people in the 80s when people had their first cell phones, if you go back in time and you tell them what your phone will be capable of within 30 years, people would laugh at you. So when people say, oh my God, fusing robotics and AI and we stop having doctors, we stop having all that seems like completely crazy to me. Well, we'll see. I do think, and I think I've mentioned this as part of my strategy in the past, which is if everything goes according to plan on the crypto front, I would be very keen in creating a basket of AI stocks, because one thing's going to happen, and this is very important to tell. A lot of the potential of AI, which is just that potential at this stage, is already being aggressively priced in, which means that it attracts companies with garbage propositions, but they will put AI in the title, much like the dot-coms in the late 90s, and those stocks will explode, as it's already happening, by the way. But when you actually go a bit deeper in those companies, they are PowerPoint presentations in many cases. They are just potential. It's not like Nvidia, which already has the results right now, or Microsoft, which have the results right now. I'm talking about like they put AI on the name and free to go. So there's going to be a time where many of these companies will not succeed, just much like the dot-coms didn't succeed. All of them, actually, the great majority didn't. But coming out of that cleansing process, let's call it that way, you're going to have the next Amazon, the next Apple, the next Google, the next big corporates. Which one's going to be? Bit early to tell. But the way that I'm going to build that basket of stocks will be, okay, what is the road to profitability? What are the signs of metrics improving? And then, of course, I'm not going to catch the bottom of those stocks, but if I catch the big trough from the bottom to the top, I'll be extremely happy. But I do believe the potential of AI is absolutely ludicrous, and not me, not anybody else can really quantify it at this stage. Now, shifting a little bit to crypto. Oh, by the way, this is important to be said. People are still talking about the Magnificent Seven, or now they are calling it the Magnificent Five, in which they are carrying the entire markets and all the rest is going nowhere. No, that's once again the typical misconception that we get in our media. So, usually when you have big stock market moves, it tends to start with a concentrated number of companies, 5, 6, or 7, and then it starts to spread out to the other ones. Now, when you hear someone say, the stock market went up 25%, but it's all driven by 5 stocks, what that translates into is, oh shit, the stocks just went up 25% and I missed it. That's what it translates to, in case you guys don't know. Because it's not just the 5 companies. The DAX, which is the main index in Germany, also has been hitting new all-time highs. The AEX in the Netherlands, same thing. The FTSE in the UK, same thing. And most recently, the Nikkei in Japan hit a new all-time high since after 34 years. So they've gone through that big depression, that Great Depression, if you will, and now they are doing new all-time highs in Japan. Now, you may recall this, that one of the predictions that I made is that by the end of the decade, I do expect international stocks to outperform US stocks. Now, does that mean that US stocks are going to go to zero? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that one outperforms the other. That's it. Why are you saying this? Very rarely you will catch 2 decades in a row where either international outperforms or either the US outperforms. So usually, when the US outperforms greatly, like the 90s, it underperforms the 2000s, like it did. But because it underperformed in the 2000s, then it outperforms in the 2010s. And if you go back to the 80s, it was the same thing, and the 70s, etc., etc. So what I'm saying, just basically a repetition of history, because you see, the first half decade, after the decade of outperformance, is people tend to be too crowded into one side of the trade. And it takes time for them to start moving elsewhere, to find value elsewhere. Okay, does that mean that I'm saying that the Nasdaq is going to collapse 90%? No, I'm not saying that. That is for the Harry Dent kind of type. By the way, he dropped a new video saying that he's pissed off at the stock market. I mean, sure, it's just like yesterday his buddy Peter Schiff was saying, oh, nobody in the market figured this out, only me, blah, blah, blah. This kind of arrogance. You see, once again, I've given this example many times. The job reports last year were coming strong. Were they really strong? No. If you actually delved into the data, you see that the job reports are weak, but the headlines are strong. And that's what traders trade. So if everybody else is going to look at the headlines and make their judgment, and I know they're going to do it, why am I fighting the market? It makes no sense to me. But unfortunately, these people continuously underperform completely the market just by, sitting on an all-world equity fund. They would do much better than all these clowns. But once again, their purpose is not to make money in the market. It is to simply sell you stuff. Newsletters, courses, books, conference, speaking fees, you name it, that's where they make their money. Now, moving into crypto. Ethereum continues to outperform Bitcoin a little bit in 2024, about 8.25% year-to-date gain versus Bitcoin on Ethereum, which is to be expected. I am still waiting for that number to go to the 20+%, 30% even, because that's typically how it tends to go. But Ethereum is in its third cycle curse, so it is poised to disappoint people. So keep that in mind. But if the cycles are going to repeat, we should basically have now Ethereum outperforming as it is, but getting a little bit more aggressive into the halving. We should have a altcoin season in March. Now, altcoin seasons, typically, at least in the past cycles, we've had 2 altcoin season bubbles. The first one is kind of the small one, and then later into the year or into 2025. In this case, you have the big altcoin season euphoria. That last time was the NFTs, the dog coins, you name it, everything went up. So at the moment, it seems that you're still following that path. Now, Pulse Chain X, ETHEREUM, ICOs have gone a little bit silent. We've set up a base here. So it seems that we gapped up those 300-400%, and now we are kind of stabilizing here, and we should start seeing, I expect, another move up around March. That would be my expectation. Once again, I don't give financial advice. That's what I'm looking for. I'm also looking for the next big key topics in crypto. So far, AI coins seems to be one of the memes. A lot of them have gone up 300, 400, 500%. However, when I'm saying the next meme, I'm talking about stuff like the dog coins last cycle that went up 40x, 100x, in the case of Shiba Inu, 1.4 millionx, or the NFTs that basically at some point, all of them were worth millions of dollars. So I'm looking still for that type of crazy heights where things go up 100-fold in 2 weeks, that kind of stuff. So in that, maybe it's going to be AI coins. I'm still a bit suspicious because they came very early in the cycle, so it's very rare that the meme or the narrative for the cycle starts in the middle of the bear market. It typically tends to be coming out of it, so it should be around now. Maybe I'm still convinced that maybe you're going to see decentralized exchanges take higher roles, as well as interchain operability with the likes of Chainlink and similar value propositions. Will we also have active liquidity management? To be seen. Will we have decentralized casinos as narratives? Who knows? To be seen. Once again, I'm starting to deploy a little bit of funds here and there to some of these, call it pre-narratives or initial smaller bubbles. See how it goes. But once again, still accumulating on the big old retirement bags. As you guys know, you see, Pulse Chain, Pulse X, ETHEREUM, ICOs have stalled a little bit. I keep on talking about them, as I always do, because I really believe in the ecosystem. I don't see any way of it failing. That's my view, not worldwide view. But that's the point, right? Not to talk after it, because if I come here after the pump and I just, you see, it pumped, it went up, I think that is a disservice to everybody. You know, people talk about conviction. Yeah, the conviction is showed when things look stalled, stopped, with little to no future. That's the key. But with that, guys, I wish you a very good weekend. I hope you guys enjoy some time off. You guys have some fun, and I'll catch you in the next one.